Welcome to Truth in Food, Chef's Classes, Rabbit Tartare. So today you're gonna learn how to make a rabbit tartare. First of all, we're gonna pickle the onions here, and they're gonna be like small red onions here. Try to buy them as small as you can. You just cut this end off here, just slightly cut it off. Then you like peel the first layer of the onion off. Sherry vinegar or vinegar, whatever kind you have. Just like half a cup. Maple syrup. Big leaf maple syrup from Neil's here, West Coast. Maple syrup, the only one that exists. High quality, probably 2 teaspoons, or 2 tablespoons. I'm gonna highball it here. While the vinegar is cooking up, we're gonna cut the onions. Half them, quarter them. Do it with all 4. Quarter them, so you have like small quarts like this. The pickling juice here is already cooking, like the vinegar and the maple syrup. Make sure that all the syrup in the middle here is dissolved into the vinegar. Pour the hot pickling juice over it. Put a lid on it. Just leave it with a lid on, don't press the lid on. And just like slowly it's gonna cook itself tender. I'm gonna do a quick marinade. I'm gonna take 2 eggs. Get the yolk out. I always use my finger. It's easier to get the whites off. Be careful you don't destroy the yolk. It's very important you get all this off. Also that little string that's there. Try not to get that in. We don't want any whites in it, only the yolks in here. Salt, just a pinch, like half a teaspoon of flaky salt. A good grind of black pepper. I'm just gonna take a splash of the vinegar, like a teaspoon. I'm gonna add like a teaspoon here, like a full teaspoon of mustard. Ground mustard, normal mustard, mustard seeds, whatever you want in it. So each egg can take 100 milliliters or 100 grams of fat. I have 200 here, and I'm gonna use 2 eggs. Give this a really good whisk. So what's important right now is we want to get the oil in really a little at a time, just to like bind it into the egg. I'm trying to put the oil in one side of the round glass jar here, and then I'm like starting it in one corner, and then I'm gonna whisk the rest of the yolk in it. And we come to a point now where it's like the marinade is starting to form. You can give it a little more pressure and put a little more of the oil in it. You can see here it's getting thicker and thicker. I'm just gonna add the last of the oil. And now we have a thicker marinade. So if you don't have like a spraying bag for like pastry, you'll just take this. Put that in your little Ziploc bag. Here it is, down in the corner. Lock it with a nut. So it's ready to spray. Got the top off. When you have your mayonnaise in the bag like that, you can always put it here, let it sit, because there's going to be a hole here on that end here when we are spraying it out. So we are moving on to the tartare. We're going to take the back straps out here. Oh, smells so fresh. There don't have to be, there has to be no smell at all. Make sure if there's fat left on it, make sure it's out. I'm slowly gonna like cut them lengthwise, thin like that, as thin as I can get them. This will be enough for like 2 tartares, like one back strap here and then one tenderloin. Now we're gonna cut it perpendicular and just slowly cut it really thin, so it almost get like grounded up. I'm just gonna chop it like that. You don't want to chop it to a mush. You want to like still have a structure in it, like that. See, I can fold it and like press it together. That's a good sign of it's been chopped fine together. So we have the tartare already cut here. I'm gonna salt it. Just a pinch with my fingers like that. I'm gonna give it some pepper. I'm gonna give it some mustard seeds, a little mustard. We don't want to give it too much because we don't want to like overtake the power of the meat, so we cannot taste the meat. I'm gonna chop some chives finely, like really fine. We want like crunchiness, small pops when we're eating like tartare like this. We want to have like different flavors and all this nice flavor in it. We're gonna cut a shallot here. We just need a little, so I'm just gonna cut through the whole thing, but just use some of it. Again, watch your fingers. Thinly, thinly, thinly. It's really high onion here, so I'm just gonna use the top of it. So thinly cut it. Probably only gonna use that. Should be enough. Then I'm gonna take some capers, just like 10 or so or 15 capers. Do a quick chop here. That's also salty, so that's also a part to give it a little salty and pickleness into the tartare. I'm gonna take some cornichons, cut them in half again, like quarters, so they're the same size as almost as the tartare, so we don't have big chunks in there. Get that in. I'm gonna take an egg. I'm gonna use the yolk. Gonna put that on top here. Gonna slice a little lemon. Just a little. We're gonna stir it together now. Slowly break it up. We're gonna stir it here together. Get that yolk in there. Get that mustard. Just turn it in. You don't have to like punch it through. Just stir it lightly in so every part gets turned over. So it gets marinated with the yolk and the mustard and the salt and the pepper, and of course you want to taste it. You always want to taste it if it's enough of the mustard or It all goes really good together. I think we're just gonna plate one here. So while this is resting, the rabbit tartare is resting, I'm gonna take up a couple of these. Look at those. We already pickled here. The red onions. Just gonna take a couple. I'm gonna peel them apart here. See? They go apart like that. It's gonna be small leaves sticking out of the tartare. So I just picked these flowers up. It's because it's the fall. We have like parsley growing in the garden, and we're just gonna like snip these small parsley seeds off here. So I picked some Tagetes flowers. They're different colors here from the garden. They're late. I'm just gonna like pull around here, and then I'm gonna nip through here. They are edible. I'm just gonna take the leaves here. So back here, small parsley still growing in the garden. I just took them because they were so small and nice. We have the tartare. It's already there, made. Gonna put some here. This portion I made here is for 2 persons. I'm just gonna plate one plate here. I'm gonna scrape it out like that. See? I'm gonna make some dots. Gonna put some onions in. Put them upwards like that. So they look like small leaves. Stick these in. You can always stick it in a little like they're actually growing there. I'm gonna take some rye crackers just to have a little crispiness in it. Just to put it in here. I'm gonna put down the small shoots here of different flowers and seeds, and to get all these different small explosions. So this will look like that. I think it's pretty. Welcome, rabbit tartare.